Hello and welcome back to a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm your host and we have a very special guest today, but it appears as though they're not here quite yet, so I will leave the audience in suspense. They will be here in just a moment, but before we start, we have a few messages from our sponsor, Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines may have killed numerous rats on their plane, but those rats were carrying E. coli and salmonella, so it was probably a good thing. So, Alejandro and I, or rather my very special guest and I, have decided to endorse the lovely Southwest Airlines for today's episode. Anyways, not quite sure where our lovely special guest is, but oh, there is our special guest. It is Dora the... Alejandro. Ladies and gentlemen, Dora the Explorer was supposed to be here tonight, but it appears as though a very unwelcome guest. Alejandro, this looks like a...
My dog died.
How did your dog die, Alejandro?
Alejandro Delillahooz.
Alejandro, you killed your own dog? You killed your own dog, and you're now wearing it like a fuzzy toilet seat around your neck? That is absolutely atrocious, Alejandro. I can't believe that you would kill your own dog and just wear it as an accessory. Anyways, that must have been a very ugly looking dog, because I felt it and it felt absolutely really scratchy, actually. Anyways, today we'll be making a lovely devil's food cake, and devil's food cake was actually, oh thank goodness, Alejandro, you took that disgusting abomination off your shoulder. Oh, are you ready now, Alejandro? By the way, I'm very disappointed that Dora the Explorer could not come today. Do you know why, Alejandro? No? You didn't just kill her in the back like you killed your dog? Anyways, as I was saying, today we'll be making a lovely, dense and disgusting devil's food cake as per Alejandro Delillah-Hooz's request. And would you like to describe to the audience what a devil's food cake even is?
It is the devil's food.
Alejandro, I'm not quite sure what that acrobatic maneuver was, but if you were to do it correctly, it would look a little bit more like this. The devil's food. But I'll have to take a bit off on that dismount. But yes, we will be making the devil's food today because Alejandro is basically the devil already, but he's not. Anyways, join us in this mystical journey through culinary delight. First things first, we're going to be greasing this lovely angel food cake or devil's food cake pan, or a bundt pan. It is also called a nose pan for those of you who are too dumb to see that this actually looks quite similar to a nose. But anyways, we will be greasing this lovely nose pan with some butter. Alejandro, watch where you're stepping, Alejandro. I almost stepped on your fungus foot. And for those of you who are unaware, foot fungus is contagious. It can even spread to other people. Anyways, we will be greasing this pan with a generous heaping of butter. We know Alejandro is afraid of butter. However, just don't be afraid to get in there with your hands like you're scooping out some sand at the beach. And don't be afraid to get in there in the nose pan and just be very vigorous with your application of the butter. And you want to make sure that none of the cracks of the nose pan have any butter in it, because that will result in the butter melting into the oven, and nobody wants that. Is that right, Alejandro? Oh, Alejandro, that is probably more than enough, but we will need to compensate by that. We will need to compensate that by adding equal parts cocoa. So that's probably 50 pounds of cocoa in there, Alejandro. That is beautiful. And the brand of cocoa we will be using today, Alejandro, is Hershey's.
Hershey.
Alejandro, that was not the correct pronunciation. That was more of Hershey. And that was absolutely horrible. Would you like to maybe pronounce that word differently? Try Hershey.
Hershey.
You know what, Alejandro? No. But I do know that you are quite the Hershey's chocolate historian. So while I grease this pan up, why don't you give the audience an explanation of the origins of Hershey's chocolate?
Hershey. Hershey's a company.
That was probably the most non-riveting thing I have ever heard in my entire life. Alejandro Delillahooz, do you know what kind of movement was that, Alejandro? Anyways, please be careful with your extraction of the dessert spoon. Alejandro's actually learning from the masters of golf this time, actually, because this is known as the swirl technique, and it was invented by none other than Tiger Woods back in 2006, actually, when he won the 2006 PGA Masters Grand Tour of basketball. Anyways, making sure that we apply this butter generously to the pan, while Alejandro clumsily continues to stir the cocoa and the sugar around. Anyways, Alejandro, would you like to switch and inspect my beautiful job at buttering this nose pan while I continue to stir around just like Tiger Woods? And Alejandro had very, very good technique. However, it wasn't very good.
Just as good as Mama.
Mama. Alejandro, who is Mama? Because the last time I checked, you were the last of the Delillahooz family. If you are referring to Cooking Mama, then it's just as good as Mama, which is the silver medal, not the gold medal. And I do not stoop down below anything that is not excellent. Anyways, Alejandro, I'm just gonna teach you how to do the Tiger Woods technique because it wasn't very good on your part. You wanna make sure that you spread your elbows out just like this, bend your knees just a tad, and then swirl, initiating movement in your shoulder, then going down to your elbow, then to your wrists, and then to your fingertips, just like this.
No.
Alejandro, how dare you oh so vigorously whisk that away from me and scream no? Now Alejandro is delicately, oh so delicately, sprinkling the Hershey's, not Profiles, mixture of chocolate cocoa powder and sugar into the nose pan. And this, watch the vigorosity, Alejandro. Oh yes. See, this particular nose pen has a removable nose, just like Nicki Minaj, but we're not going to get into that this time. This nose pan has a removable nose, which means applying cocoa powder and sugar to it will result in a bit of spillage, but that is not to be worried about, Alejandro, because the oven doesn't really care. It's just like the mouth of Poseidon. And the mouth of Poseidon, for those of you who don't know, takes everything into it, but only deals with it what it likes. So it only takes what it likes, rather. So you cannot get the sides, Alejandro. Why can you not get the sides? Would you like to maybe explain yourself a bit more clearly? Very confused at Alejandro's confusion because it appears as though, this is a very interesting technique, Alejandro. I'm not really quite sure that I've seen it before. Would you like to explain to the audience? Actually, it's kind of pointless asking Alejandro to explain things to the audience because Alejandro doesn't really explain things very well because, as we all know by now, it's been 4 years since this program has even started, mind you. Anyways, I'm not even going to get into it because Alejandro clearly lacks explanation skills. I've tried to teach him, but he just doesn't listen whatsoever at all. Completely. Nothing. Anyways, do you think this will be good, Alejandro, or should we add just a bit more butter just to make sure that it's all covered?
It is okay.
It is okay. Alejandro says it's okay, which means it is not okay because Alejandro's okay is fine. Absolutely horrible. But this is the We Don't Know How to Cook channel, so sometimes we actually don't know how to cook, but Alejandro doesn't know how to cook, and I do, but that's a story for another day. Alejandro, congratulations on cleaning, because as we know, we had to move out of this studio for a long time due to a lovely, horribly disgusting, minus the lovely part, so it was horrible and disgusting salmonella infestation caused by Alejandro's nasty fingertips and his licking of the bowls everywhere.
Your host spread the salmonella.
Your host spread the salmonella. Excuse me, Alejandro Delillahooz. I'd like to make everything crystal clear here, ladies and gentlemen. I did not spread salmonella throughout the studio. It was Alejandro who spread salmonella throughout the studio. It was not my fault whatsoever, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for believing me and not Alejandro Delillahooz. And are you leaning over to barf, Alejandro? Are you allergic to chocolate? Are you allergic to your horrible pronunciation of Hershey's chocolate? Because if that's the case, then you should get out of the kitchen because Dora the Explorer should be here anyway. Hair shade. Alejandro, I think it's time for us to take a little break because tensions are running high. Now, with that horrible disaster out of the way, Alejandro has thoroughly and formally apologized to me off camera for his hideous and horrible behavior. How dare you verbally abuse me in front of the camera like that? I just can't believe him. Anyways, we will be adding the dry ingredients. Alejandro, what are you doing? Get out of my way, please. And that is the wrong drawer, Alejandro. We've been in this studio for 4 years, and you still don't know where things are. Anyways.
You got us kicked out of this studio.
Alejandro, I did not get us kicked out of this studio. You apologized to me on camera. Anyways, we will be adding this. We will be adding this. This heat in the studio was not fixed when we were gone, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. It is approximately 36 degrees Celsius in here, which is very, 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 very toasty. Isn't that right, Alejandro? Even Alejandro, he comes from the warmest of climates. From, I don't even know what country he's from, but I do know he's from a warm climate. Even Alejandro agrees with me, for once. Anyways, we will be adding 2 cups of flour and 2 cups of brown sugar, who is, this brown sugar is rather solid, but Alejandro says he has an ancient Korean secret to deal with this. We'll see about that. Anyways, 2 cups of flour and 2 cups of brown sugar into this lovely urine-colored bowl. Anyways, 2 cups of flour first. And Alejandro, do you think that I should bust out the trusty ancient Colombian coffee grinder for this flour?
No.
No? Alright then. 1 cup, and you want to make sure that you scoop out the flour as precisely as possible, but it does not need to be completely precise because, well, this is devil's food cake, and as the saying goes, the devil's in the details, but this is not the detail to be meddled with. 2 cups of flour, and Alejandro, would you like to demonstrate to the camera the ancient Korean secret? As though the vigorosity of the ancient Korean secret has caused Alejandro's beret to... Oh, would you look at that? It is soft, and Alejandro's beret is now off, and his hair. Just take a look at that hair. It reminds me of some sort of overcooked noodle that has been been sitting around in Mario Batali's kitchen for about 67 years. That's right, 67 years, ladies and gentlemen. And was just flopping around in the water, the cooking water, need I remind you. And has just been fraying and fraying and fraying all day long. And somebody placed it on top of Alejandro's head. Move over, cinnamon bun. Well, good thing you got that beret back, because nobody needed to be tormented with that horrible, disgusting noodle hair. Anyways, 2 cups of brown sugar, softened by Alejandro's strange Korean technique. Alejandro appears to have inflicted some sort of injury to himself, but what's new these days? Absolutely nothing. Alejandro has inflicted upon himself 3, yes, count them, 3 injuries in the past 24 hours. Last night at 8 p.m. he was trying to impersonate Donald Duck, and, well, he burst a vein in his neck. Last night at 8:30 p.m. he tried to impersonate Oprah, and he burst a vein in his neck once again. And last night at 10 p.m. he stubbed his toe so hard that it started to breathe, and then when he had to do yoga, he said that he couldn't do it anymore because his toe hurt too bad. Alejandro, it was the tree pose. How dare you not do the tree pose when you broke your toe? The tree pose has nothing to do with your toe. This is the tree pose, Alejandro. It doesn't involve the toe whatsoever. Anyways, 2 cups of brown sugar. And the more firmly packed the sugar is, the better, because brown sugar molecules like to be packed together. And that beep marks the ceremonial up to temperature of the oven, and for our most loyal fans, you will know that that beep is very, 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 very important in terms of the temperature of the oven, because this temperature of the oven is much, much better than our old studio, which was quite atrocious, if you ask me, Alejandro. Isn't that right? The oven did not bake our eclairs.
No.
Not at all.
No.
Even Alejandro agrees with me. Alejandro, if you can catch this... Alejandro, if you can catch this, I will give you a prize. Alejandro, you caught it! Well, it appears as though I'll be giving Alejandro Delillahooz a prize. And that prize will be determined at a later date. But for now, Alejandro Delillahooz will have to suffer. Anyways, with Alejandro's moping around, faking his injury, anyways, we will be stirring this together, but not before we add the rest of the dry ingredients.
Half a cup.
Half a cup of what, Alejandro? 1, 2, 3. Hershey's. No. Alejandro, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to teach Alejandro to correctly pronounce Hershey's, but apparently those kindergarten level pronunciation skills are clearly lacking. Alejandro, that is a method called the seizure method. I don't believe I've seen it. But one of the major differences between Devil's Food Cake and Angel's Food Cake is that Angel's Food Cake is with white chocolate and Devil's Food Cake is with dark chocolate. And as we all know, the last thing we want to be called here at the We Don't Know How to Cook channel is a racist. But Alejandro is a racist and I am not, so just pretty much overrides the whole thing. But it's fine, ladies and gentlemen. Leave that open, Alejandro, to prevent the spread.
Not a racist.
Oh, really, Alejandro? Do you remember that time where you added 5 black and only 4 white Oreos to that food processor from the 30s? Yeah, I'll never forget that day, Alejandro. Anyways, we will be adding the rest of the dry ingredients here after this short, very short message for, well, I'm not even sure what it's for. Alejandro, I'll go check my call sheet, and why don't you give us the short message?
He is a racist. He ate all of the cream puffs for the Ixxa Valley. They are starving. 300 children did not get their cream puffs.
Ah yes, how can I forget our important message was for Oprah's charity that goes towards the starving children of the Ixchka Valley. We were going to donate cream puffs to them, but as we all know, somebody, I'm not going to name names, but it was Alejandro Delillahooz, ate all of them, but it's fine because we will be donating whatever we donate of this cake to those unfortunate children of the Ixchka Valley. Anyways, Alejandro will be adding the rest of the dry ingredients into this lovely, rather dehydrated urine-colored bowl. And
Udre, Pajik, Majik
Alejandro, well, at least you know how to pronounce
is
things in
not
French.
how you say it.
Well, how do you say it then, Alejandro? It is Pudre Pachik Magique, but let's see your horrendous pronunciation.
Good.
That's absolutely laughably horrible, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, producers, I'm gonna have a word with you because I believe this Pudre Pachik Magique expired in February 2013, which is not this year. Horrible. Anyways, a little bit of baking soda goes a long way here, devil's food cake, and Alejandro, that is absolutely the most horrible technique I've probably seen all day. That's good enough, Alejandro. You don't want to add too much baking soda because baking soda contains salt, and salt is a baker's worst nightmare. Well, too much salt because nobody wants salty cake unless you are Gladia de Laurentiis. Gladia de Laurentiis is Italian, and Italians love their salt. Anyways, we'll be mixing this dry ingredient mound here with a balloon-shaped whisk. Just like this balloon-shaped whisk, but it appears as though something has been chewing at this balloon-shaped whisk, and I'm not quite sure what animal it was.
It is me.
Alejandro, you were biting this? I need to wash my hands as soon as possible. This is absolutely disgusting, and this does not call for one, but this calls for 1.5 rounds of the ABCs, sung by me. Anyways, Alejandro, step aside, because the camera needs to see my lovely dance moves that are associated with the ABCs. And you want to make sure that the temperature of the water is rather hot, rather scalding, in order to kill the disgusting saliva glands that are on that balloon-shaped whisk of Alejandro Delillahooz's. B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, W, X, Y, and Z. And that wasn't enough because Alejandro's saliva is absolutely disgusting, so I'll be singing half of the ABCs all the way to M again. But in this time, to the tune of the Star-Spangled Banner. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M. And that's enough. Alejandro, stop saluting to the camera. We're in Canada, not the United States. Anyways, Alejandro has deemed the balloon whisk ineffective, so I will be throwing this straight in the trash. Interesting techniques. There are clumps, Alejandro, but you know what the best way to eradicate clumps are. And crumps. The best way to eradicate clumps and crumps is with a large and in-charge spoon. Just like this one, Alejandro. You want to make sure forks are good for smaller clumps or crumps, but spoons are optimal because spoons have a larger surface area, as you can see, very clear, than a fork. So, you want to make sure to eradicate all of the clumps. There aren't any clumps in here, thank goodness. Anyways, keep on going until all of the clumps are, well, for the most part, are eliminated, because a clump or two here won't kill you. It'll only make you stronger, just like Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson, believe it or not, actually bit into a crump. It didn't kill her, it made her stronger. Anyways, keep on going. Well, Alejandro decides to fiddle around with these white sticks here. Disgusting. Whew, that was a really, really aggressive one, Alejandro. Whew. Anyways, keep on going. Oh, seems as though Alejandro spilt a little bit there. And just keep on mixing until it looks like Pillsbury Doughboy prepackaged Devil's Food Cake Mix, which is not what we're replicating here. We are actually replicating Anna Olsen's recipe, but not Anna Olsen. Anna Bolson, because Anna Olsen made the angel food cake recipe, and Anna Bolson, Anna Olsen's evil twin sister, made the devil's food cake recipe. Anyways, it appears as though all of the clumps, for the most part, have been destroyed. So, we will see you when we have our act together. And by we, I mean Alejandro, because it appears as though he's just fiddling around with some chocolate, putting it in the microwave for who knows what. Alejandro Delillahooz has explained to me off camera that he has decided to melt. Ooh, this is very hot, Alejandro. You could have warned me before I picked it up. Ow, again, with my fingers. Anyways, Alejandro has told me off camera that he has melted some chocolate that looks quite similar to slime right now, brown slime. Isn't that right, Alejandro? And a bit of a history lesson in slime. Slime was invented in 2018 by Rosanna Pansino, but that's not how you pronounce Rosanna Pansino's name. This is how you correctly pronounce and enunciate Rosanna Pansino's name. Alejandro, would you like to give it a whirl first? No? Anyways, it is Rosanna Pansino. So, from now on, all you uncultured people must refer to her not by Rosanna Pansino, but Rosanna Pansino. So, anyways, this delicious looking brown slime, but it's also chocolate, will be added to this lovely, lovely bile green bowl. Ooh, and must I say, that chocolate tastes very, very, very delicious. It must have been purchased at Bible Foods. Isn't that right, Alejandro? You were my shopper person today. Where did you go to shop?
The alley.
The alley! That's fun, Alejandro. And Alejandro smeared chocolate all over me, but I knew that the alley was a credible and delicious source for chocolate, but not for anything else.
Add oil.
Alejandro, what is with you and pronunciations? What the heck is oil? Is it oil? Because I sure hope it is, because...
We will add will.
Will? Alejandro, I'm really, really, really starting to doubt your pronunciation
We'll
skills.
add ja.
Alejandro, I am quite concerned for you, rather. Oh, and it appears as though the temperature has dropped from 36 degrees to 34 degrees. That is why I'm only sweating a little instead of a lot now. Anyways, how much, Alejandro?
Half.
half a cup. All right, and for those of you who are too dumb to forget, we want to make sure we measure liquid with a glass cup and by looking at the meniscus. Half a cup is what, Alejandro? It appears as though there are foreign symbols on this, Alejandro. I'm not sure what half a cup looks like. Maybe it's from your country.
100 liters.
100 liters? There aren't any liters on here, Alejandro. I don't see 100 liters. But you know what? I'm just going to wing it because I pretty much know what half a cup looks like by closing my eyes. But of course, I'm not going to close my eyes. And it appears as though that is perfect, as I suspected. Anyways, we will be adding this oil and not whatever Alejandro pronounced it as.
Hey.
Alejandro, I'm quite concerned for your health, actually. Anyways, we'll be adding this oil in to the lovely, lovely slime chocolate mixture, just like this. And you want to make sure that when you're adding oil, especially canola oil, to chocolate, that you elevate your arm up and down just like what I'm going to show you right now. Creates a very, very, very desirable texture and beautiful visual appeal. I would show it to you, ladies and gentlemen, but it is rather liquidy. Anyways, Alejandro Delillahooz and I will continue to slave away, but I will slave away. Alejandro doesn't really do anything these days, but he never does. So Alejandro will continue to slave away, actually, and beat this together. Alejandro, you really need to find a power source because something is wrong here. What do you think you're doing, Alejandro Delillahooz? Searching for a power source. Oh, Alejandro. I don't know what Alejandro was thinking because I found a power source right here. And making sure that these whisks, these keys, a dual whisk system here. And making sure that these whisks are clean, and they are. Good job, Alejandro. Actually, good job me, because I remember cleaning these yesterday. Anyways, whisking this together just oh so delicately until finely ground. Well, that was not so delicate, but it's fine, Alejandro. I put it on 1. Alejandro, your noises are concerning, very, very concerning, but I'll keep going. Alejandro, your noises are very, very concerning. Keep going, Alejandro. Alejandro, I really think there's something wrong with these beaters. Anyways, we'll see once we get these beaters sorted out because it appears as though the vigorosity of these beaters are rather intense. Alejandro and I have fixed the beater problem and it appears as though it is running as smooth as before, which is perfect. Now that all the chocolate has been equally incorporated into the oil, we will be cracking 2 eggs into this mixture. Anyways, this is a miniature egg carton, and this egg carton came from the local farms of Uzbekistan. Anyways, in order to make sure that an egg is not contaminated with salmonella, you sniff it hard twice. And make sure you don't smell any salmonella. And salmonella, for those of you who don't know, smell like rotting bacon. All good, Alejandro? Alejandro's first egg crack. And I'm not sure why he's cracking it into a small container, but that will have to do. Alejandro, I know you struggle with OCD, so would you like me to crack this into this bowl or that bowl, Alejandro, to prevent you from suffering any longer?
The small bowl.
The small bowl, Alejandro says. And as you all know, I am an expert in egg cracking. Alejandro Delillahooz, that was rather inappropriate for this time of day. That was not the ABCs, nor was it enough time to wash the salmonella off of the egg. Anyways, cracking this. Oh, here's as though we've got a shell. Alejandro, go fetch that shell. Alejandro, I don't have time for this. The salmonella is sinking in. It's sinking in. I don't have another disaster. Alejandro, no. Get it. Alejandro. Oh, Oprah, this is why we really are in desperate need of you this time. Because salmonella, as we all know, is running rampant and is affecting children all over the world, even the people working on the farms of Uzbekistan. Anyways, washing my hands once again. No need to sing the ABCs because I already did 1.5 before. Now we will be beating the egg and chocolate mixture until a fine paste has been formed. We will see you then. Alejandro Delillahooz will now add 3/4 of a cup of water into this lovely molten, it's not molten, it's a chocolate mixture, but 3/4 of a cup of milk. Flour and milk actually share very similar consistencies in terms of molecular structure. The only difference is that flour contains 3/4 of a nanogram of leaf juice, and those leaf juices come from the maple trees in India. But anyways, that is why flour is so expensive these days, because India has been having a rare fire problem. Anyways, adding a bit of this dry ingredient mixture intermittently with the milk. First, a bit of milk. And then just a bit of dry ingredient. Alejandro Delillahooz has beaten this to a pulp and has created a very viscous looking batter.
We will add water.
We will add water while continuing to beat. And you want to make sure just a bit at a time, Alejandro. Otherwise, as I said before, those horrible tunnels will appear within your cake. And those tunnels will take you who knows where. And with that, the batter is ready to go and ready to be poured into our lovely nose pan here. Alejandro will do the honors for that, but not before our short, very short commercial. Delillahooz will now expertly, or not so expertly, pour this batter into the nose pan. But it's fine.
Do not lick. There's eggs.
Alejandro clearly does not grasp the simplest of chemistry because egg plus chocolate cancels out the salmonella.
You must add to your host's nose and
Alejandro, that is not my nose. That is a beautiful technique, Alejandro. Just watch as that chocolate mixture just cascades its way into the Alejandro's nose pan. Very
splash uta.
We must splash butter or spatula, Alejandro. I will spatula and Alejandro will hold. Keep on moving that bile-colored bowl, Alejandro, in order to create the utmost of swirling motion. Anyways, grabbing these beautiful, clean chocolate particles off of the edges and just pouring it into that nose pan. Oh, just look at how the chocolate just glimmers. Oh, look at that beautiful glimmer. Reminds me of Glimmer from the Hunger Games. Way back when, those Hunger Games. But Glimmer from the Hunger Games actually made it quite far before she was shot in the neck by those very pesky bumblebees. Anyways, making sure that we get all, or if not all, most of this chocolate batter from the bowl and add it into our nose pan. Absolutely incredible. Alejandro Delillahooz will then add this nose pan to the oven. As soon as I finish whisking out the rest of the batter, there we go, Alejandro. That is perfect. That's perfect. Very good job. Alejandro has learned quite well, actually. Probably the only thing he's ever learned in his entire life. He's learned quite well to put things into the oven. Anyways, we will see you when we make the delicious icing for this exact devil's food cake that will be ready in approximately 40 to 45 minutes or until golden brown. But you can't tell if it's golden brown because it is brown already. Alejandro will now carefully, oh, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we will be making our lovely, lovely chocolate ganache icing to drizzle on top of our... Alejandro, that was very delicate. Very delicate indeed.
No. You are spaghetti.
Alejandro, I don't know about you, but I think my hair looks a bit more like linguine than spaghetti. You see what I have to deal with day in and day out? Disgusting just paper towels lying around the studio from Alejandro. If we're not careful, we're going to have to be kicked out once again by producers in order to clean this thing. Now, we will be adding the rest of the chocolate into this cream in order to create a lovely chocolate ganache. And a chocolate ganache is quite similar to the French technique used by ancient maids in the 1300s. However, it is not quite the same thing. Anyways, in order to make this delicious chocolate ganache, we will be chopping up this incredible chocolate bar that we bought, that Alejandro purchased at the black market down the alley. Anyways, we will be breaking out the ancient Roman scupulupula. Yet again, it has not been touched by salmonella in the past 4 years. I'm actually quite proud of the way that this bad boy has held up. Anyways, Alejandro Delillahooz will be chopping it up using a crosshatch method and just dumping it in to the cream. And I'll be whisking it to ensure that the chocolate melts. Anyways, hurry up, Alejandro. We don't have all day, and with the 33-degree weather in this studio. Yes, that's right. I said weather in the studio because it appears as though overcast is happening right now. With the 33-degree weather in this studio, we're gonna have to work fast because we don't want the chocolate to melt outside of the gounache. It appears as though that this chocolate is clumping together, but it's fine because we will be whisking at an elevation of approximately 3,500 feet. Alejandro just needed to raise me up a bit there to remind me that we were 34,999 feet, and I just need to raise it 1 foot. And I just need to keep on whisking to make sure that it melts. And Alejandro, I feel as though that I've gotten sufficient on arm workout, so why don't I keep going? Because I need to surpass Michelle Obama in terms of bicep strength, and I'm almost there. I arm wrestled her last week and she beat me, so it's time for revenge. Anyways, once this has been melted, Alejandro Delillahooz will add just a couple tablespoons of Crown golden syrup. And golden syrup is not to be mistaken with golden brown sugar syrup, which are completely different things. Isn't that right, Alejandro? Golden syrup is secreted from the resin of the pine tree, and golden brown sugar syrup is, well, as you guessed it, secreted from the Indian maple trees. But keep on stirring this mixture until it melts. Alejandro, it doesn't appear to be melting. I'm not sure if the cream was hot enough. Alejandro only put the cream in the microwave for 34 seconds. Fire away. And stirring, keep on stirring. You want to make sure that all of the butter is covered in chocolate mixture. And it is not a chocolate gounache without corn syrup. Golden corn syrup, actually. It's actually not corn syrup at all, it's just golden syrup. Alejandro took a big smell of that. What does that smell remind you of? My home. Alejandro, my home is very stable. It is only stable because it was built on the foundation of the original golden syrup factory. And Alejandro, I'm not sure why you know this because you've never been to my home. However, if you have been, that is surely a violation that is breaking and entering. That is horrible and disgusting, Alejandro. But it's fine. Anyways, keep on stirring.
The Romans are superior.
That is correct, Alejandro. The Romans were very superior. But Alejandro is a racist, and I am not, so to the Greeks in almost every single way except for the way that they made cherry jelly. Cherry jelly actually resulted in the downfall of the Roman Empire, believe it or not, because Nicki Minaj came in with her song Roman's Revenge, and Roman's Revenge is actually about how the Roman Emperor at the time got his revenge on the Roman citizens by making poisonous cherry jelly that killed every single person in the Roman Empire. That caused the Russians to take over. Anyways, this chocolate gounache icing mixture, it looks very complete. And we will see you for the icing of the devil's food cake. Alejandro Delillahooz, I believe your beret has grown a pair of legs and walked off because it cannot seem to find it. Anyways, Alejandro Delillahooz will flip the devil's food cake around and balance it on its nose. Alejandro, I don't know what you're waiting for and what you're doing digging around in the... Oh, there we go. Alejandro Delillahooz will use his expert technique that I have taught him. It took 3 days to teach him this, ladies and gentlemen. Flip it around to balance it on its nose to cool. Anyways, Anyways, Alejandro inspecting the meniscus, and yes, believe it or not, you can inspect meniscuses of solids as long as they are baked goods. Anyways, Alejandro Delillahooz and I will take a quick break because it is very, 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 very hot in this studio. Actually, Alejandro Delillahooz has found his beret, but we will see you in approximately 4 to 5 hours, or until this devil's food cake has cooled off. Thank you very much. Now it is time to remove the nose-shaped pan from the lovely looking devil's food cake. This devil's food cake has a bit of crackage on the top, but you know what I call that? I call that character, ladies and gentlemen. Alejandro Delillahooz will carefully find the perfect extraction tool for the cake, and then he will plop it out onto our lovely, lovely heating pad. Carefully, Alejandro, oh so carefully jiggling that knife just like a jigsaw puzzle, but not at all. Keep on going, Alejandro. Oh, Alejandro, be careful where you're pointing the knife. Anyways, now it is the moment of truth. If it comes clean, we know we have done our job correctly, and if it doesn't, well, it won't, so we don't even need to worry. Is now going to punch the nose out and extract the cake. Absolutely horrible, Alejandro. And the cake has came clean, just as expected, and it smells just like fresh chocolate. Now it is time to remove the nose. Interesting technique there, Alejandro. That will be adequate, good enough for devil's food cake, because once devil's food cake is cooked, very little can go wrong. Very little can go wrong. Alejandro. Anyways, I will grab a plate, or Alejandro will be greedy and grab a plate himself. And very delicately flip the cake over and remove the nose. Beautiful. Oh. Well, Alejandro, flashback to about 43 minutes ago, where I said, should I add more butter? And you said no, and I listened to him. I should not have listened to him. But regardless, this devil's food cake is looking quite refined. Now it's time to add this beautiful French gounache to the top of the cake. Alejandro, why don't you do the honors, or should I do the honors, and add this gounache? Maybe we can do it together. Alejandro, ready? And pour, delicately pouring, Alejandro Delillahooz, making sure that most of the surface area of the cake is covered in the gounache. But be careful, be wary, Alejandro. Very elegant, just the way I like it. Make sure it gets along the center. Oh, that edge, Alejandro, you're Alejandro. Thank you, Alejandro, for taking over. Actually, for letting me to take over, because as we all know, I am the superior chef here. But it's already been established. Anyways, scooping the rest of this gounache. Appears as though some of this gounache is hardened to the bottom of this bowl, but it is okay because gounache washes very, very easily.
Gounache.
Alejandro, I did not miss those absolutely horrible puns. But anyways, just scraping the remains of this gounache out of the bowl and just drizzling it onto the top of the cake. And that is absolutely beautiful. Now, Alejandro Delillahooz, would you be so kind as to extract a knife out? Extract a knife, Alejandro, out of the drawer so we can cut into this lovely cake and sample it for ourselves. That is perfect, Alejandro. And I will grab some plates. Beautiful technique, Alejandro. That is an actually decent technique, just the way, notice, ladies and gentlemen, the way Alejandro Delillahooz just undulates his arms as he cuts the cake. It's actually not an undulation at all, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you who don't know what an undulation is, well, I'll demonstrate for you. Alejandro, step aside as I demonstrate my beautiful undulation skills. So, you want to start with your hips. Just thrust your hips and then your back and then down and up again. Just like that. And that is exactly what Alejandro Delillahooz is doing with this devil's food cake, and a fork for me and a fork for Alejandro here. Now it's time. The moment of truth, Alejandro. Let's see if our labors have paid off. 1, 2, 3. Absolutely dense and disgusting, as I predicted. It tastes so much like chocolate, Alejandro. Oh, and now I'm getting hints of rotten cream here. Alejandro, this spoon hot tastes quite similar to rotten cream. Oh no. Oh no, Alejandro. Alejandro is breaking out into a frenzy. Oh no, Alejandro. Anyways, Alejandro, get back here. Alejandro, get back here. We need to sign off to the camera. Anyways, Alejandro seems to be bursting at the seams to speak, so why don't you go ahead?
We will see you next time.
On a little bit of this and a little bit of that, where we embark on even more dangerous culinary adventures. I can sense that next time's gonna be extra dangerous because hopefully we'll have Dora the Explorer. Probably not.